So welcome everyone to DataCon episode 21. We're glad to have you here, and with us today is a fantastic person, a personal friend of mine, my co-founder, the CEO of NewPi Analytics, Jerrin Thomas. Welcome, Jerrin.
Yeah. Hi, Mark. Hi. Thank you for having me in DataCon. This is what? Episode 21.
Yes, absolutely right. That's episode 21. And folks, we do work with each other, so we have met each other quite frequently. So don't confuse us. I think so. It's just that the formalities of the episode. But as we progress through, things are going to get a lot more comfortable. Things are going to be broken down for you. And we're going to talk about a very interesting topic that is very dear to us. As founders of NewPi, we both have faced this issue, and Jerrin was instrumental in solving this issue. And what I'd like to talk about today, Jerrin particularly, is NetworkPro. Okay, right? We have NetworkPro. And can you tell me, what is NetworkPro? What does it do? What is it supposed to do?
So NetworkPro is an application, a mobile application, which makes networking easy, and easy as easy can be.
So you're saying that networking is actually hard, but is it really that hard? Can you just tell us why is it that hard, and why do we need an application to help us network?
Okay, let me break down networking for you, Mark. When you look at networking, there are like distinct types of networking. Quite a lot of things are there, but distinctly two types are there. One is where, you typically on floor, you have plenty of people out there. You want to go and meet all of them. Typically, a BNI event, which is there, where you go out, you meet one person after the other person, you exchange cards. That's like an open network point, right? The other one is more like where we put in stall and people come to you. And that is where the other type of networking comes into place. Now, both of these situations warrants you to do two things. One is to build that quick relationship with the person. Build that quick relationship. And when I say quick relationship, it could be to understand what the other person does, convey your message of what you do. And I think the most important thing, and this is something which, I've heard in multiple places, including even in BNI, the objective of a networking event is so that you can fix the next meeting. And that's the main objective, because you probably have about 30 seconds with the person. And in that 30 seconds, you cannot probably tell everything about it. By the time you start about analytics and what do you do, what is data engineering, goes into one big loop, right? So at that point in time, it's best to have a separate event where you can converse and sort of discuss this particular details there. That's the objective of networking, right? Build relationship, get the next meeting. Now, what typically happens is when you have that quick conversations, you're exchanging cards and you're trying to figure out, which card in which pocket does it go into in your coat, all of that, and then when did this person tell you? Like, for example, someone could come and tell, let's catch up next week at 4:00. So what typically used to happen is you take a pen and write, okay, 4:00 next week. And the other strategy was, wherever someone comes in, always ask for 4:00, always ask for a Wednesday. Why? Just because it's more convenient. That's about it, right? So just you write that down. That's the other thing about it. What used to happen in this 3 weeks is that once all of these cards are put together, it goes out back to our human agent, to our human agent who looks at all of these cards, figures out, deciphers the writing and what the code's been put into it, decipher what needs to happen, and then starts reaching out to each of those person, telling that, okay, you know what, we met on this particular event, and in this event we said that we could catch up on this particular day. What is your suitable time? Try to find time with this. Often finding calendar time is often difficult, and it becomes a challenge because everybody is doing multiple things and there's quite a lot of things happening. It always becomes a challenge with that. The other thing is to be in touch with the person, right? You have their number, you wish them, have a personal courtesy, have the professional, you connect them with on LinkedIn, you can wish them on festivals, you probably follow them on LinkedIn, you wish them on their birthdays, all of that. That is the other part of building that relationship in networking. Again, this becomes a challenge when you are having information on card, and then you need to go into LinkedIn, put in those information, and so on and so forth. So this becomes the other part where you're trying to build a relationship with the person, which becomes a bit of a challenge, or you have these obstacles which are out there for you.
So breaking this down, you said that there are broadly two types of networking. One is on floor. So by that you mean like an open floor, a lot of people around, everyone here with the purpose of networking. You mentioned a BNI event. It can be any networking event, in fact, where people have come there with the sole purpose of connecting and building their network. So that is an open floor network. The other one that you said was an install networking experience, where ideally you as a networker are inside a stall, and here you're pulling people towards you, right? So those are the two scenarios that you're breaking down. And what happens in both these scenarios, is the networking the same? I mean, is the interaction the same? Can you talk to us a little bit about the interaction with individuals on floor networking and interaction with individuals in the at stall networking?
Okay, so these two may look very similar to each other, but the mechanics of it is different, right? When you are in an event which is their open networking event, you're going one person to person and quite fast, and you need to sort of have a target for the next person. And also you're talking to one person. There could be a crowd which comes in, the other guy who comes in, and they start conversing, and then you're trying to have a conversation with the other person. There is another conversation going up. This is something which you need to manage out, right? And it's something which you manage on the ground, on the floor, on the ground. How do you do it? You kind of move around and then see that, and you move quite fast with people. On the other side, the stall one, or when you have a booth and people come to you, the pull mechanism, right? There you get a little bit more time. You get advantages. You get some more bit of a additional time with you, because you are able to have a little more conversation with them. But there also there's a challenge. At times, what happens is, quite a lot of people come into together. These stalls, if you look at these events which happen, they would have these people come to the stalls at the time when there's a break in the main function or discussion, or some talk show is going on. At that time is when they come in, and that period is short. So people want to just gather as much information as they want. They will come in and they'll be waiting for you individually. Again, that mechanics are slightly different, but yes, you need to manage that particular crowd.
So great, Jerrin. So I think I get what you're saying. So what I'd like you to break down for the audience is that during this, what is the amount of time that I should spend with a person during networking? During this time, what are the activities that happen? What can happen? And finally, what is the objective of this small interaction that I'm having with a person?
Okay, so great. So Mark, so you asked three things, right? So one is with regard to the time you spend in a networking event with each person. How does it break down? What does it look like? And what are the objectives, right? So first one, time. Time varies, Typically you may get about 30 to maybe 40, maybe 45, maybe 60 seconds with a person. And during this period of time, the time varies also. It depends on how that conversation goes in, and I think time may not be the thing with each person. You'll have to look at from a broader perspective how the conversation is going and how do you want to spend more time on it, and kind of considering the energy management what we spoke about earlier. Right. So the conversations. So what are we trying to do in this conversation? So one is we're trying to gauge that other person. Is there something where we can help the other person? Is there something, is this person relevant for my business? And how relevant is the person for my business right now? Is it something immediately? Are they looking at something very immediate? For example, in our case, is somebody already implemented the ERP and they want to get management reporting done? So they are very much keen on to get it done. So that's an immediate need. So there could be another person who is, I'm looking at, they're just starting to implement ERP. So maybe not, they would probably take about some bit of time for them to set in and then look at reporting. So that's not an immediate need, but in the future. So I need to build that connection with them and make him relevant for that. So I will have to gauge the person in terms of what are the things that can be done. one with regard to the how the relationship is going to be in terms of it. What is it that I can contribute to the other person? It's very important that we look at from the other person's perspective, because everybody in networking event comes to thinking, hey, what can I take away? So if you just change that equation to what I can give to other person, it makes a lot more interesting conversation. So you do that. So this is one objective. The second objective from a very closer to business side is to fix the next meeting. So you get a chance to discuss in more depth, in more detail about what you do and understand that better. So there are two objectives which you look at from any networking event, which I go into. I look at from these two objectives. One is to have a genuine relationship with the person, and the second one is with regard to, can I get the next meeting fixed?
So wonderful. So getting the genuine connection and knowing the person really takes time, and you have to know a bit about their personal. They have to know a little bit about what their interests are, and as you're rightly saying, that 30 seconds may not give us enough time to get into all of that. But I think personally, what I think is that me connecting on their socials, and probably understanding a little bit of information about them from their social media can gauge and see what are the best ways I can stay connected with the person and stay relevant and stay genuine with that person. And from a business perspective, I think the next conversation, a larger platform or not a larger platform. I think from a business perspective, the interesting thing is getting another opportunity where void of the noise of the event, just a one-on-one conversation where you can talk. Maybe it can be a 30-minute conversation where you talk about really what you do, really what they do, and see how you can help them. That is a good objective, right? And that is what can really extract value out of whatever we did at the event. So that's a good breakdown. You had mentioned BNI, and yes, for the audience, both Jerrin and I are part of BNI. So would love to know more about what does BNI talk about networking? Are there any tips, tricks, hacks, rules that BNI gives us for effective networking?
Yes, yeah, BNI gives a lot of good tips in terms of networking. And if you look at from BNI, I think maybe Ivan Meissner is probably put out these sort of a broad level rules. Within that first 24 hours of meeting, you need to be sending a message to the person, and within the 7 days, connect with him on the social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. And within the 30 days, you need to have your meeting. So this is the sort of a thumb rule in terms of from a networking to make sure that's effective. 24 hours send messages, 7 days connect with them on social media, within 30 days have a meeting. And sort of this is a blueprint which I kind of use it for all the networking events which I go for.
So beautifully said, 24/7/30, great philosophy to follow. Now coming to the main thing that we've been talking about, we started off with it, then we dropped it, and now I'm bringing it back. NetworkPro. How does that play a role in this entire networking journey?
So yes, Mark. I think that's the core thing of how NetworkPro makes all of this easy, right? The promise is that all these three things can happen at that very 1 second which happens. So let me break that down. So the sending the message, when you're with the person, what happens is in the application, you have an option for scanning the card. You get the person's card. You scan it. You just have to take a photo of the card, and it detects the email ID, the phone number. The AI detects it, fills up a sort of a pre-filled form which needs to be done. Then you can ask for, let's say you have two options typically. You can either fix an appointment with him right there, or you could say that, okay, let's just stay in connect. If you are, depending on how you gauge the situation. Now, say you want to set up a meeting with the person. The application is integrated to your email ID, let's say to your Outlook, to your Gmail. It can look at your calendar, suggest you what are your free times. That is just a fingertip away for you, just there. You tell him few options. Hey, what about Wednesday 4 p.m.? Are you free? You look at your calendar, you see it's available. You select the time. And by the time you click on the send and save message or send and save card, there is an option for sending the message. It opens up WhatsApp. In India, WhatsApp is predominantly used from a communication angle. A message goes out to the person's mobile number in a WhatsApp, telling about, hey, this is so and so person. We met in this event. Happy to stay connected, or happy to meet you at this particular time. With the email, what happens is automatically a Teams link is generated. The link is sent to the email address of the person. Right. This is blocked your calendar, his calendar. Now you've got the meeting also set up. Now it's like, you were able to do all of this with that 1 second, which you had that point, at that point when you're meeting the person. Right. This is where NetworkPro really helps and solves the problem. So look, I want to understand from you, how do you do this?
Oh, I think before I tell you how I do this, let me just wrap my head around this and break it down for the audience, because in reality we have been using NetworkPro, and let me tell you what I used to do before that, right? So NetworkPro, talking about NetworkPro, one, scan the card so my contact immediately comes into my phone, right?
Yeah.
Next, using that contact, I can immediately message the person, as opposed to wait for the end of the day and then send a message by 24 hours, when I can do it within the first 10 seconds of meeting the person.
Yes, done. Yes, you can do that.
So now the message is sent out. While sending out the message, if the person wants to have a meeting with me, I send out a meeting link as well, blocking his calendar and blocking my calendar.
Yes.
Right? No more double booking, no more fixing all meetings for Wednesday, 4 p.m. 100 meetings for that time.
Yeah.
Just because it's convenient. Wonderful. So now, what we used to do before this was, get the cards. During the cards, as you broke down networking, there are so many people we are meeting and there's exchanging cards. A minute after that, you do not know who gave you what card. So what I used to do is take a pen, a CD marker pen, because various cards can have various textures.
Yeah.
Write a relevant point on the card so that I remember for later. Next, once I go back to the hotel room after a day of networking, you're super tired, but yet scan all the cards using some sort of scanning app, or enter the numbers manually, get it into the phone. Then what I would do is, next day I have to go back to network. I can't send out the message, it's probably too late. What I would do is send a photo of these cards back to the office. A person with us, an employee of Apurva, would actually take this, start looking at the numbers and start sending out a message. Say, hi, it was nice meeting you all at this event. Yeah, right? Start sending out the message. So the message goes out, and then the event is over. She does this the next day. All the events are there and the messages have gone out. Now comes the hard part. Fixing the damn meeting. And why I say damn meeting is because Apurva is going to realize that this Mark has gone and fixed 5 meetings for Wednesday 4 p.m. Another 6 meetings for Tuesday 10 a.m. So now there's an entire activity of re-messaging and saying, hey, hi, I know I said this time, can we have it another time? When are you available? And that person doesn't even recognize, remember what, where, all of that confusion. Takes her at least 2 weeks to break this out for 150 cards that I have got. So that is how Jerrin, I used to do it that is how I used to do it, Jerrin, pre-NetworkPro.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's exactly the same thing that you also would have been doing.
Yeah, obviously, that is something which we used to do the same thing. Agent Apurva had these things to do. She had the tough task of deciphering our handwriting, and we write these code words. Like I have a cross and 3 dots. That means you're important person, need to fix meeting immediately. All sort of things were there, which we had sort of got a code language put out place. Right.
NetworkPro, an application that has really changed our lives in this organization. To be honest, I've spoken about it to various BNI members in my chapter. They are excited and starting the onboarding journey. They are starting to use it. They're starting to enjoy it. They're starting to see the benefits. But before all of that, I want to thank someone for actually building this application. And that person is Mr. Jerrin Thomas, who is here with us, talking to us about this. So one question, Jerrin. one question that will probably open a large amount of dialogue in the community. What qualified you to build this technology application?
So yeah, I mean, apart from running an IT company, yeah. So the first thing, I'm not a technical person having those technical qualification. I'm not a engineer by qualification, but I'm an accountant. I'm a chartered accountant by qualification. And I think beyond that, beyond the qualifications, it's about problem solving skills. And then I think that's where the AI part of it, or the growth of AI today, has really helped. I mean, when this problem was there in hand, I remember this was a Sunday where I was sitting and then thinking, okay, what do I do? I have this problem. I need to solve all of this. Maybe let's try something called as this vibe coding sort of a thing, right? And took up Replit as an application, started looking at things, started putting a prompt. I think about 20, 30, 40 minutes down the line, I had a sort of a first prototype coming out, which really was solving a lot of issues. It uses web, the WhatsApp web API to send the messages. It was much easier. It kind of gave me options what needs to happen. And then, this was good from a point of getting the first prototype out. And I think that's where the beauty of vibe coding comes into play. You give a prompt, you get your first prototype out. You don't need to go and explain a lot of features of this to the engineers and then get lost in that entire Chinese whisper. Right? That's not required. You have a prototype, working prototype. Now, where the additional the engineering team came out and helped, our CTO came out and we looked at it from a critical angle point of view. Can it really test the practical usage? You can do a prototype. You can do prototype for individual small events, which is there. But if you really want an application to work in the real world, it has to have sort of guardrails put into it. Integration layers need to be built in, and that's where the engineers came into play. And then a lot of development from that came into play. So integration, when I say the integration between the application to the Microsoft, the Microsoft, getting a calendar in, getting the Teams integration, or even for that matter, even Gmail and the Gmeet link. All of this is already built in thanks to our bunch of engineers over there. It also made sure that the entire application is sort of have got its own guardrails, and you can kind of protect it. That's the entire advantage of it. So I think AI plays a big role in this with vibe coding. Nevertheless, the engineers have gone into a lot more critical elements to make sure your applications, which you come as prototypes, can take it to the market, which can test the market and really, make it more useful on the ground.
So wonderful. To summarize, thanks to vibe coding, accountant was able to prototype a working prototype model. Was able to be generated, and it was easier for you to communicate with your technical team. The technical team came in and made that product real world ready, ensuring that there were enough guardrails, enough safeties, enough robust infrastructure to ensure that the technology doesn't break while in real world usage, right? And what you also said, AI was a wrapper that made all of this possible, right? And AI played an integral part over here. Can you give me a timeline comparison? I know we are hearing a lot of this out there, but since you built this application, what would it have taken before AI, and what has it taken now that there was AI?
Yeah, amazingly put out in terms of the breakdown of what happened in each steps, right? So now the timeline, from a timeline perspective, I told you this was a Sunday lazy afternoon, which I was sitting about 30-40 minutes into the vibe coding. I got my first prototype out. It was ready. It did not have any guardrails. It was just an application that could run on my phone. I could, scan a card. I could send a message. That's about it. And that was ready in about 40 minutes, I would say. Give or take about 5-10 minutes here and there, right? 40 minutes ready.
Wonderful. So your prototype was ready in 40 minutes, right? Which earlier, I don't think you would have even made a prototype, right? It would have probably been a drawing on a piece of paper in your notebook, and then you having to communicate that idea to an engineer scoffing and thinking, these accountants, as they do, all of that would have been going on. And I think that would have taken more than 40 minutes, right? So AI has really helped in that prototyping and communicating an idea better. Now let's talk about the engineering side. When we handed it over to our CTO, from that point to the application being rolled out to a larger audience for usage and getting more feedback, what does that time frame look like?
Yeah. So CTO, Avinash took over, and then from then, so November was the time, just to sort of put the timeline to it. November was the time when the vibe coding and all came out with the first prototype, which I don't know, Sunday afternoon or something like that. And then from there, we had a couple of more events where we really tested this out. Few of them I had gone out with Avinash and shown, okay, this is what I'm seeing as an issue which is coming out. All of those got noticed, identified, tracked, and closed out. And that is something where we started building on multiple versions of this. The first initial prototype, the next one, so that every version became an improvement of the other previous version.
Excellent. So I think what the process that AI really helped us was build, test, fix quickly, identify problems quickly, fix again, test again, fix again. And that has given us a robust product, right? So if November you started this with this vibe coding, November on a Sunday evening you started vibe coding, how many events did get tested and within how many months?
Okay. So from an events perspective, two large events were there, which was the CFO story and the IC event. Apart from this, we had within our BNI chapter, we used to have multiple, we have our weekly meetings. I use it for there. I use for my weekly meetings. We used to have we did have a event where we had a grand visitor meeting. I used it there. So all of these other smaller events which came into play. So about, you could easily say about 10-15 events was looked at from using the application.
Wonderful. So it's clear that this application has been put through its test. It's been tested in the real world and has been built based on the need for networkers. In your chapter, there are people in BNI who have taken this. There are friends of yours, friends of mine, my BNI chapter, people who have been asking for this, who are getting onboarded, who are inquisitive about it. And there's a lot of traction going on about this application. So Jerrin, as a CEO of NewPi Analytics, how much is this application going to cost?
Yeah, so that's the part, Mark. It's free. It's free. Anybody can use that link, use it to download it, put their credentials, log in, and use it for free.
Free. Okay, so why don't you tell us why do we at NewPi and why do you as the CEO of NewPi decide to give this application for free?
Yes, Mark. Yeah. Why free? So I think, the entire idea of NetworkPro was it's kind of borrowed from a lot of learnings have come into it. Like it could be from my mother Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, who showed a lot of things around the vibe coding, the introduction of that came into play there. It could be BNI who taught about in-networking, all of that. So it's a culmination of a lot of learnings put together. And that is why this is meant to be free, right? And the greatest reward would be that if NetworkPro can be the catalyst for businessmen and women to have relationships, to build on their business relationship with NetworkPro, nothing like it, That is the greatest reward which I see from us as a company. And, obviously it also has additional benefits of improving our brand value and people knowing about it. No doubt there are other benefits out of that. But I think the most important thing is becoming this catalyst from helping other peer business owners who are literally struggling with 500 set cards and going out and doing their regular admin work, right? So let them focus, let them get them more time, and that's the greatest reward I think I would take for NetworkPro.
So wonderful. So NetworkPro, an application that helps cut down the noise, cut down the unwanted work, the admin work, and help business owners focus on building relationships, identifying synergies, effectively communicating and coming up with beautiful ideas to solve real world problems. And if NetworkPro can be the catalyst that enables business owners to do what they really want to do, why not? and NewPi offering NetworkPro for free to everyone so that they can really grow and strengthen their presence in this world. And especially in a world which is trying to isolate us, keep us, it's all about me. It's about me and my connects. NetworkPro is an application which will really help us spread our wings and build connections across the country, across the globe. So thank you, Jerrin. Thank you so much for a lovely session, and thank you for breaking down NetworkPro. And more than that, breaking down networking and telling us how networking really happens and how networking can happen a lot better with NetworkPro. So to set again, here's my personal phone, here's my office phone, and I'm set to network.
Yeah, you need some bunch of cards. Let me give you some collected, some of it.
So these are probably the cards. These are the cards that I have collected.
Yeah.
Right, I gotta keep it somewhere. And what else?
A pen for writing on this.
A pen for writing as well.
Yeah, you need a pen for writing on this. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Pen came.
Pen.
To write.
And then I gotta keep possibly in here.
Yeah, it doesn't go the look though, but yeah, okay.
It doesn't go the
fine,
look.
fine, okay.
Okay. Then the collected cards I would keep in my left pocket. And the cards I am going to give out to people. Hey, where's my card holder? Do you have a card holder?
Yeah. So there's another card.
Okay, so this is a card holder which has my cards in it. And I have to give this out. So I think this has to be for easy access in here.
The phone?
My office phone, my personal phone, I don't think I need. So I'm going to keep it in here for now unless I get personal calls and all of that. And my office phone is in here. Right, so this is how it is. This is how I'm set. So let's do a demo. Hi.
I'm Jerrin.
Hi, Jerrin. I'm Mark.
Hi, Mark. What do you do, Mark?
Do this. I run a data analytics company.
Oh, nice. Me too.
So this is your card?
This is my card.
Wonderful. Let me give you my card. So hold on. Here's my card, Jerrin.
Thank you.
So, Jerrin, maybe you know what? Instead of delaying, let me message you right away, and so we can get connected on this one. So I probably unlock my phone, then I enter your number. And Jerrin, I know you're probably losing interest right now. It's taking time. Hold on. And your name is CA Jerrin Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you feeling right now? Do you want to move on to the next person?
Yeah.
I know. So that's a constraint, right? I collect the card. I want to message him from my office number, but it's just not possible now. Okay, so that is a challenge. But then what we did is we solved it by getting another application that would just scan the cards. Okay, so let's try that. Hey, Jerrin, you've given me the card.
Yeah.
Give me the card again.
Yeah, here's the card.
Hey, Jerrin, let me just message you right away. Okay, I scan it. And yep, it's in here. This is your number, I think.
Yeah, that's my number.
Cool. Okay, so save, then open WhatsApp, finding you, Jerrin. Yeah, hi. Okay, I'm just going to an old message saying hi, Mark John here, met at ICAI 2026. Done. So Jerrin, I messaged you and I'll probably stay in touch. And
Good.
Do you think we should meet up sometime and have a conversation?
Yeah, how about a couple of weeks down the line?
On
a Wednesday 4 p.m.
We'll meet in a few weeks. Wednesday 4 p.m. is a good time.
Yeah.
Done. Message you. You got the message. I think you got the message.
Yeah, I got the message. Yeah.
And we're done.
Yeah.
So this is a situation where I'm still connecting, and honestly, Jerrin just wants to have a meeting with me because I think he probably knows me. Otherwise, I don't think he would. Or the probable answer would be, okay, you know what? Let's see. Let's catch up later. And now I put the card in again, and then I head off to meet the next person. So by the end of the day, I have a bunch of cards. I look at this, and because I messaged him, I could at least say that, okay, this number, this name, Jerrin Thomas, and I know I messaged, right? Now, Jerrin said he wants a meeting. It's in here, so that's good. But otherwise, it's kind of lost in time. Yep.